I'm Fran Smith, and I'm Tommy Smith's mom. He was a stinker, but for the most part, he was a good kid.
I'm Tom Smith Sr., Tommy's dad. Retired after 39 years with St. Louis County. I was 20 when he was born, so I grew up with him. He's your best friend, like a little brother. So we did a lot of things that Mom never knew about. He got away with some things that he should have never got, but he was a kid and we had fun. And then when his little sister came along, wow, talk about partners in crime. They didn't play video games, they watched cartoons, they played outside. You know, they did things that kids did. Played in the hose, played in the pool, just did stuff.
He could be a turd. I could say it differently, but he was my brother. I mean, if he wasn't stern with me, then I wouldn't take him serious. He was that person I knew I could trust. I knew I could depend on. When I couldn't go to Mom and Dad about something, I knew I could go to him, even when I was little. And he always made sure that I would be okay.
Started academy in September, graduated in December of '74. And I have a picture holding him at the academy after my graduation in his suit, and he's grabbing onto my hat. And I'll never forget Lieutenant Nelson, who was our class leader. He said, "We got somebody coming up the ranks?" And I said, "I hope not."
Seeing his dad in a uniform, and I think that was very exciting, as it is for probably 90% of children. From a really early age, he wanted to be a policeman. So he would drive the neighbors crazy because he was always outside making siren noises. And everybody was going to their door checking, like, where's the police at?
Tommy was always a police officer, always. There was a time when he was playing in our front yard and a man came by and ate his lunch in front of our house. And when he was finished, he put his trash in a bag and dropped the trash outside. And Tommy went flying up, picked up the bag, put it in the man's car, and he said, "You can't do that. My dad is the police and he might arrest you for that." And the man just kind of looked at him and didn't say anything, but he took his trash and he drove on.
He loved riding in the car with his dad. Back then, it wasn't mandatory that children sit in the back seat, so he was a big shot because he would sit in the front seat of the police car. And Tom was off going to pick up, I believe, his laundry or something. Larry Stulse had a vehicle stopped. Tom pulled over just to see if there was anything he could do, and he got out of the car. Tommy now is in the car by himself, and while the guys are out talking, all of a sudden you hear over the radio, "1 Adam 12, 1 Adam 12, see the man."
We're standing there and we hear this 1 Adam 12 thing, and we're looking at each other like, what is that? Look in the car and he's got the radio up to his mouth. Oh man, you can't do that.
But it was funny that he was only about maybe 5, maybe 6, and he knew how to pick up that walkie-talkie and key it and talk into it. And he was 3 years old. I apologize.
And then when he became a teenager, he talked about being a police explorer, and I go, "No, you're not." I said, "Nope, nope, nope, you're not."
He started as a police explorer, and he continued with that until
He was moved up in the ranks within the explorer post, and he was a captain, and the next thing you know, I'm getting phone calls at home for him from the captain.
We grew up together, saw each other every Sunday for the family dinners and stuff. I think there was even a picture of us when we graduated preschool. We had our little graduation hats on. We did the Explorers for St. Louis County together. He took his role very seriously when it came to that. This was a road that he already knew he was taking. We went to the academy around the same time. I went to St. Charles Academy, he went through St. Louis counties. I was there for his graduation from the academy, he was there for mine. He just breathed the work. No other job would have made him happy.
He was a very caring guy. When I needed him, he was there for me. You know, I remember when my son's mother was in the hospital, she was there for a month. You know, he would go down to the hospital with me, sit down there while she was on bed rest. Just the kind of person he was just there for you.
More than anything, he was very accepting of everyone. Always made me feel like I was part of his group, even though we were 5 years apart. We weren't just family, we were friends.
I have a photo of Tom and I at the mother-son banquet, and it was a dance, and he proceeded to tell 99% of the people there that he had the best looking date, which he knew would embarrass the heck out of me. But that's the kind of person Tom was. When he loved with his whole heart. When he had fun with his whole heart.
If he had an opportunity, he was going to share it. If he had $1 in his pocket, he was going to give it to you if you needed it. Even if he thought that you might need it and you didn't ask for it, he was going to offer something.
He was a good student. Did he perform up to his potential? No, because he was a jokester. He could have been a straight A student, but he loved life and he loved having fun. Those were some of his priorities.
He was always into pranks, like we went to senior prom. And after the prom, we went back to Stephanie's house. Me and Tommy left for a minute. We both got changed and we put on white wife beater shirts, a pair of neon green and pink shorts, and our bow tie. We knocked on the door, here we are, almost like the Chippendales. Prank calls, the stink bombs. He was slick, he wouldn't get caught. Now it's years ago, we have that statute of limitation that goes in his favor. It's one of those where it's like, that goofball became a cop? Holy cow.
Met Tommy probably 2nd grade, and we just headed off knucklehead, just like the rest of us. I remember one night we TP'd some girl's house with, I believe it was like 50-something rolls of toilet paper. It was a girl he had a crush on.
The teachers kind of would laugh with him, but was he suspended or anything like that? Never, no. He was good, but he loved to have fun.
What else do you want now?
I want a Lamborghini.
He was athletic. He played soccer, and I remember hearing that he went to Europe and thinking, I could never go to Europe. It seemed like a dream, especially at his age, because he was in high school.
Team USA, when they asked him to come try out, I think he was a freshman in high school. He made the team, and then they traveled to Europe. And that was part of the deal. They played different countries in Europe, so that's where he learned a lot about the game. Some kids have hobbies like cars, or his was horses. Very good at what he did. He was a good horseman, rode well.
He loved doing Civil War reenactment. That was one of the things he really, really enjoyed doing. He got involved through a friend of ours, and he was very good at it. They were involved in a lot of the Civil War activities, and everything was period. So his uniform, his horse, everything that you would read about in Civil War times, that's how they had to do it.
He's been a cowboy since he was a kid. You know, that was his, I guess, release or whatever. And I ended up doing it when he died. I ended up with his horse and his trailer and his truck. I spent the next 25 years riding horses and shooting Confederates. His drive was to finish his college while being a policeman, and then he was going to go to the FBI. That was his dream, to go there. And I said, well, go ahead. They pay good and they don't work hard. Grass was not going to grow under his feet, let me put it to you that way, because he was always going somewhere. And I knew he was going to be somewhere and somebody, because he was hell-bent for leather. I mean, that's just the way he was. And then when he left, and my heart broke, it still broke. 12:11 that night on Channel 8. I called him and I said, hey, listen, it's getting a little icy up here. Be careful down there. And he goes, yeah, it's starting to get a little nasty down here too. He said, I'll call you later.
He was working at 55 in Butler Hill, working an accident. The person that he was helping decided that they needed to get something out of their vehicle. He walked to the vehicle with them as a guy coming home from work slid into them and killed both of them. Typical Tommy, he wrapped his body around the lady that he was helping, thinking, I guess, that he was going to protect her, but they both ended up dead.
I knew the last time I talked to him, I was upset because he called me at 11:30 at night. And I was like, I'm trying to go to bed. I have to go to school. Oh, I know, I just want to see what you're doing. There was a reason why he called me. There was a reason. and I'll cherish it, even though it's not the best memory that I wanted to have, but at least he called me and I got to, talk to him for a few minutes, and I got to hear him say, "Hey, I love you," just one more time.
Back when this was all fresh, when Tommy first passed away, people said it will get easier with time. Time heals all wounds. But that's not really true. You may move on, the time will dull the edges of that paralyzing grief that you felt when you first got that phone call, but it never really heals. It never really goes away. There will always be a Tommy-sized hole in our family.
Our daughter was engaged at the time. He was supposed to be best man in the wedding. He was part of the wedding in a sense that he had been in his cousin's wedding. So we had a picture of him in a tuxedo, and his picture sat at the head table. And when we did our family pictures, we're holding the picture of him. So we know he was with us all the way. When our daughter got pregnant, she has a picture of her ultrasound, and in the picture, our grandson is pointing like this. I mean, this is what it looked like in the ultrasound. And immediately, the first words out of our daughter's mouth was, "Oh my gosh, that's Tommy," letting us know he's with us during this pregnancy. And Christopher is so much like Tommy. Sense of humor, the way he carries himself, confident, but not arrogant.
I look at my son every day and I see my brother. He's actually named after his dad and my brother. We named him Christopher Thomas for a reason, and he'll always know who his uncle is.
This is not here today, gone tomorrow, and everything does carry on. Hence is the reason we have a memorial golf tournament every year, and we give the proceeds, it's a Tom Smith Jr. Memorial, half of the proceeds to the backstoppers, half of the proceeds to Special Olympics. And we've been doing that for 15, 20 years. Trying to give back, trying to help out for the future, because there's going to be other families. They're going to keep coming.
He was amazing, a heart of gold, and the protector like no other. He was the best.